How could entire forests disappear right in the middle of a protected wilderness? That's what biologists Bill Ripple and Eric Larson are investigating.
We're really at a critical level for the overstory aspen here in Yellowstone, because unless we get some new development in another 50 years, there aren't going to be any aspen trees here in Yellowstone. I think that would be a tragedy.
Ripple and Larson had a list of suspects in the aspen's disappearance. At first, they considered climate change. But if that were the cause, they reasoned, aspens should be declining throughout the area.
Well, we looked at the aspen outside the park and in the park, and we found it cannot be global warming because outside the park there were a lot more flourishing aspen than in the park.
Then they turned to the next suspect, fire. Could the reduction of forest fires in the park be hurting the aspens? These are trees that in fact thrive after a burn. But the huge fire of 1988 ultimately produced few large trees. Ripple and Larson need another clue. So they look within the aspens themselves. They drill cores from nearly 100 trees. By counting the growth rings, one per year, they can determine a tree's age. The cores are telling a story. There are almost no middle-aged trees. Most are at least 70 years old.
And then we say, wow, this might be it right here. The aspen stopped regenerating in the 1930s and hasn't regenerated since, throughout all of the 20th century.
What could have happened in the park back then? Ripple and Larson know of one significant change. By the 1930s, Yellowstone's last wolf was dead. In the 1800s, we entered this realm which wolves had ruled as top predators for millennia. We sized them up as a threat. Between 1883 and 1917, more than 100,000 wolves were killed for bounty in Montana and Wyoming alone. By the 1970s, they were listed as endangered in the U.S. Biologist Doug Smith has studied wolves for most of his life. He sees the amazing possibility that their absence could somehow be connected to Yellowstone's missing forests and eroding riverbanks.
This animal, wolves, was a part of North American ecosystems. And a big question for biologists worldwide is what has been the effect of removing large carnivores?